Welcome to the start of my 24-hour grind to see if I can get a safety C class in iRacing. This is definitely going to be one of the toughest challenges I've taken on so far, and we're going to be over at Circuit de Lédenon in the MX-5 Cup car. Now always remember, if you want to jump ahead, I'll include chapters down below so you can skip right ahead to the part you want to watch. Now, I'll be honest, it's not a great start. I personally forgot to hit record on my first two races, so for the first time ever, we're going to be doing kind of a race review here instead of a full live race commentary. But trust me, these first two races, I don't think you're going to want to miss. I want to give a huge thanks to everyone supporting the channel, whether you're someone new or someone that's been around for a while. I genuinely appreciate every single one of you. And if you're enjoying this grind to C class, don't forget to like and subscribe. But I'll shut up so we can get on track. Let's get into it. Let's get racing. So here we are taking off. Looks like we're starting out in P3. Up behind Jose Sanchez and Joseph Kolosik. Now, I'm definitely feeling pretty timid here in this race. This is my first race here at Circuit de Lédenon. Big mistake up in front. Cutting through the track. That's definitely an incident point. Shame on you. I get my fair share as well. Either way, fortunately we've moved up into P2 and we are close on the heels of P1. Now, I will say they are quick, but they also seem to be a little bit more, they seem to be struggling with consistency a little bit more. Woo! So we just narrowly avoid them. Just barely coming out ahead. Staying wide. Cutting in here for turn 8. And then braking heavy to cut in early as well for turn 9. Now, huge banking here, so you can really easily take that banking and kind of get on the throttle very early. But either way, we were able to get in there and take P1 because of some mistakes on their part and just staying consistent as much as I can. And so we're able to pull across the start-finish line to end the first lap in first place. Okay, so a hard break coming in here for turn 5. Really tricky turn to find out how to get the most out of the speed for that. And I think it just comes down to managing the weight of the vehicle properly, which is something I still really struggle with. And so right now we've still got P2 kind of nipping at our heels a little bit. They're getting closer and closer and closer. Not very comfortable with where they kind of end up. But at the same time, you know, we're able to still manage our lead for right now. And it does look like we're holding at least somewhat of a gap at about 0.4 of a second. But they do also have fastest lap on the track right now, Mr. Jose Sanchez, so definitely somebody to be watching out for as the race continues. So we go very wide here. We go very wide. And now we have some side-by-side action and a little bit of defending to do, as Jose is right up on our left-hand side. We try to brake as late as we can and cut in early here for turn 5. And I've got the room, so I take it. Staying kind of oddly middle of the track here, so that way I can defend in either direction if I need to. And we've gotten our space back now. They're about 0.6 back. And so, yeah, we're able to make our way back up into a much safer position. And that is not one of my strongest corners. Definitely something that I struggle with still. Looks like we've created nearly a 1-second lead on P2, which P2 has now exchanged. Jose is now down to P4, and it looks like Joseph is up in P2. Jose definitely made some kind of very serious mistake, because they are a full 10 seconds behind, even with still the fastest lap time. But P2 is coming right up on us. You know, everybody wants to be number 1, so we'll have to continue to fight for this position throughout the race. That felt slick. That felt nice. Got a little debris coming out of that corner. Loving the new debris system. Love to hear what you guys are thinking about it so far. But for me, I love it. I think it improves the realism. I don't really notice it too hard as far as like losing traction. You know, every once in a while I'll definitely feel like I lost traction that I only lost because of the debris, but most of the time it's just a beautiful difference on the track, something that just is there to take up more GPU and kind of look cool. So, and I think it does look cool. There's been some moments where I've just had like a rock or two just fling right back into my windshield. So while I was talking, at some point we lost Mr. Joseph quite a way. He is now down by about 7 seconds. So we have built ourselves a pretty clean and tidy lead here. At this point, the name of the game is just to stay consistent and stay smooth. We can even draw it back a little bit and be very certain that we're not going to lose the car in any places or get any off tracks. Now, I will say we can do that, but I'm also not in control right now, and I'm going to tell you, I don't usually do that. I'm not good at deciding when to pull back, and even if I didn't know when to pull back, I've got a little bit of ego, so that there's a part of me that's just always looking to go as fast as I can. The whole goal for today was to go ahead and achieve some iRating. We are currently, as of the start of this race, we are at 3.3 for our safety rating. And we are at, and I said iRating. The goal of today is to gain safety rating. We are at 3.3 for our safety rating. And then we are at a 1.1K for our iRating. Looks like this race has the potential to gain us a 93 iRating points. And from what I've seen, if you'll get out there and do some practice and qualify, and then do a clean race with 0 incidents throughout, you can gain as much as 0.12 safety rating, which is nothing to scoff at. Okay, so we try to gently break our way around there. In my mind, I'm trail braking. In reality, I'm not. It's trail braking is just God. It is so difficult to do. Hard to know whether or not you're actually doing it correctly. You know, it's one thing to look at the telemetry and say, hey, I got it to spike up high and then drop down low and then hover for a second and then drop off and then immediately switch to gas, and that's cool, but you know, if your other components weren't correct, that didn't really do you any good. And sometimes you broke too hard or too soon. And even though on paper your graph isolated may look correct, when you factor it into where that blip on the graph needs to be and how long each portion needs to be held for, it shows that trail braking is much easier said than done. Very tricky corner, that last one. You've got to slow down a lot more than you think you do, and the apex is quite a bit later, so I've had a little bit of trouble trying to figure out exactly where I want my braking point to be, and I typically just have to brake a little bit earlier than I should and kind of trail off or coast until it's the right time to go ahead and take the turn at the speed I'm at. Still well up into first at this point. We're over 10-second lead. One of the better races that I've done so far. Definitely very proud of this one. I wish I could say it was more hard fought, but aside from, you know, 1 or 2 people that I needed to defend against, this was relatively one of my easier races as well.
Tires, we need to get some heat into them.
Now before this, I did put in, you know, probably 20 or 30 laps of practice. That's something that I just typically always like to do. I don't like to just hop on a track. Even if I've been in that track on that car, or on that track in that car, I typically always like to put in some refresher, whether it's warm-up, acclimation, whatever you call it. Always like to do a little bit of prep work. Less about making me go faster than everybody and more about making it so that I'm just clean enough that I don't crash the car. So at this point, Jose is still fastest lap at a 1:35.794. I myself am at a 1:35.994. So I'm not quite quick enough to be fastest lap, but I think the pace is there eventually if we can avoid certain mistakes that we're making and learn to push at certain corners. Sounds easy, right? That is a bumpy one. But we now have a massive, massive lead. You know, I kind of lose sight of this down in the right hand. But we have a massive lead over the rest of the competition here at about 25 seconds. Now, I will say second, third, and fourth have all seemed to kind of bunch up there a little bit. Does seem like there was some kind of incident that kind of funneled them all together. We'll definitely take a look at a replay after this is done. Get in there, get in there. Yeah. Send it in there. So Jose is definitely the fastest out of the field, but, you know, this is just definitely more proof that, you just, okay, so we brought our, actually, nope, we're the fastest in the field now. And that's the end of our race. At the last lap, we're able to go ahead and cross the finish line with a 1:35.7, narrowly beating out the previous best lap time of a 1:35.794. All right, so a quick look at the results for the race. We started in P3 and then worked our way up, finally, up into P1. We were able to get best lap time here, 1:35.7. And then if we take a look, our safety rating increased by 0.12, so we're now at a 3.5. And then our iRating increased as well, plus 93 iRating points. So we are currently at a 1201 iRating. Let's just watch some racing.
The track temps
well, I am going to talk, but you know what I mean. Let's get into the actual racing. So we get a nice start. Looks like we're able to go ahead and take P1, but we also kind of make some serious mistakes here at the beginning. So I can definitely hear, there they are. And so let's brake a little bit later, cut in, and take that line. But they are still right to our left-hand side, and they pull ahead. So no victory yet. No victory yet. We've got Mr. Ocon in front of us, sitting in P1. We're currently in P2, with Felipe behind by about 0.2 of a second. So we've got a nice little pack of cars all split up by roughly 1/4 of a second. I try to take their inside line a little bit just to distract them, make them uncomfortable. Can't really tell that worked at all. They take this corner fantastically. I am much more slippery about it. I think they were just more conscious of the cold tire situation for the opening lap. And that ended up working in their favor. As we come around the final turn, back onto the straight for the start-finish line, we are now in P2, which is, you know, exactly where we started, which is fine with me. I think we do a fantastic job there, and honestly, had they not been in the way, we might have even made it through there a little bit more quickly. But we're not here to drive through cars. That's That's Gran Turismo. I like to have as much etiquette as I can and try to give people their space. Late break. I can see their wheels correcting very heavily up in the front. A lot of counter steering on their part, but the actual balance of the vehicle looked very smooth. Very smooth. Love the new debris. Love it. Just love it. It's big chunks. It's better than I thought it would be. You know, I knew there would be debris on the track. What I didn't know was that it would fly up in your face. Because the way I imagine real racing is there's a lot of micro bits of debris all over the track all the time. And so you probably hear often little bits of pebble, rock, gravel, sand, whatever you want to call it, just, you know, peppering up against the hood of the vehicle, or bonnet for you European peoples. Once again, very new to this, so let me know what you guys think. Any comment is acceptable. I've got thick skin, so you just tell it how it is. I'm not worried about having my feelings hurt. If there was something that, you know, could be improved about this setup as far as trying to do these voiceovers, you please let me know. This is my second time doing it now. First time was just a second ago as we did the last video, and I actually don't mind it. It's, you know, it's okay. It's definitely very different. I can focus a lot more on talking now, and actually be able to feel like I can maybe create some better dialogue, but, you know, it definitely puts me into a little bit more of a rambly state as well. Now we lift there going into turn 8, but hard braking coming into turn 9. And, you know, that lift is, I don't think it's a full lift, and I still haven't really figured out exactly what I want to be doing for there. I know we want to take a nice wide line and turn in very gently to give ourselves not just a good smooth control of the vehicle, but also just to give ourselves plenty of room to turn in and hold as much speed as possible going in through the apex. Or should I say beyond the apex. Jokes, we got jokes here. So coming down this straight again, about to cross the start-finish line. We're about 6.5 minutes into the race, so we are a little over halfway done here. And we make a major mistake. Fortunately, they make some issues too. I don't know if it was that they were worried about me or what, but you know, we're making some pretty aggressive mistakes here. I think my pace overall is quite a bit slower this race. Looks like my best lap time is a 1:36.47, which is significantly slower than our last race.
Okay, Christian, 5 minutes to go.
In this case, we're looking, Ocon is looking at a 1:35.934. So, far superior to what I'm doing here. Well, I shouldn't say far superior, it's just a second ahead. Couple of tenths, but still. That purple makes it seem so much faster. You just see that purple on somebody else and, oh man, I'm slow. Nice heavy braking coming into this section. We want to turn in early. I'm still kind of figuring that out. That's still, at this point, not something that I've totally started to understand. We do fortunately get faster as the races go along. We've got a full 10 races in this series, at least up to this point. So we let off a little bit here, kind of try to trail break our way into this corner just a tad. And same thing there. And that is a tricky set of corners wherein I think it just needs to be high level trail braking that takes you around that series of corners. Wanted to try and go for the overtake, but just felt like there was too much of a risk of an accident, and I'm still very much trying to be focused on safety rating. We are looking currently at 2 incident points. And so coming into turn 9, we are right up on the bumper, still of first place, Mr. Okan Zagnos. I'm definitely pronouncing that name wrong, but that's all right. As long as we do our best. They are still just barely ahead, though. We are glued to their bumper, and they are doing, I think they're doing a fantastic job. A fantastic job just dealing with the pressure of having somebody right up on their bumper the entire race. I think I would have folded like a paper bag a long time ago. My nerves would not have been able to handle this much pressure from behind. I mean, we're staying within at least 3/10 pretty much this entire time.
That's 2 minutes left. 2 minutes.
And then I downshift into first. And that does it for me right there. And that's my problem. The biggest reason and the only reason I spun out in that corner, and we probably would have had a first place victory there, but we lost that opportunity because of me dropping down into first gear. This car is incredibly picky about downshifting. And if you do it too early while you have even a slight amount of angle to the steering wheel, the car really wants to spin out badly. And so now for the rest of the race, we've got some tires that are pretty messed up as well. Kind of hot. If you know, you know, the iRacing model is just very aggressive when it comes to just hot tires. And it doesn't believe in letting tires cool down. That's not allowed in iRacing. Once your tires are hot, they're perma-hot. And so, you know, we're kind of stuck with dealing with what we can deal with. About 8.5 seconds behind P1. So unless they make a mistake, you know, we're going to be sitting here in P2. Now, fortunately, we still have plenty of room between myself and P3 with a 3.5 second lead. Coming down this back straight across the start finish. And I think we'll be okay. All right, and so as we come up to this final line, I believe this is our checkered flag and the race end. And so we pull across the finish line with a nice little P2, which I will take that. I'm not gonna complain about that ever. I mean, a podium's a podium, win's a win, and I think we pulled off a pretty satisfying victory here. And so that's 2 races down, a little bit closer to the goal. But the second one definitely exposed some cracks, and it seemed like split-second decisions made all the difference. But the grind is just beginning, and I think with each lap, the pressure is starting to get to me a little bit more. Again, I just want to express my gratitude for all of you watching and supporting the channel. Your comments, likes, and feedback definitely help me keep pushing forward. And if you like what you saw, go ahead and remember to subscribe so you don't miss the next part. I'll see you there. But for now, that's a wrap. So I'll catch you guys beyond the apex. Cheers.